Okay, before we handle our problem of our camera just falling right down to nowhere, let's stop and talk about light, because light determines what we see. It's a big matter of mood and creating three-dimensional form. And so by default, our scene has in it something called a directional light. And this directional light you can think of as the sun. It doesn't really matter where it's placed in the scene. What matters is its angle, because this is where we're going. So if we can see our ball, right, our sphere, you notice as I'm rotating the angle of the sun, right, even though it's placed above in the scene, right, I can get it such that it's directly to the side. See if I have it pointed at the side here, see the effects, and it affects the background, the sun, everything in the scene, right? So we'll want kind of a directional light, right, kind of like this, so our ball is thusly. Now that's not the only thing that determines how a form is created. Before I jump into that, though, let's just look. We have over here a lot of, not a lot, but some options here, right? Where we can change the intensity of the light. So if I change this down to 0.5, right, you see it's less reflective there. One is kind of your main regular thing, and here we see we have a highlight. We can go up higher, which will just really see. Look at the effects that we have here. Right, so we're just going to leave it on 1. You could have the shadows change how they are. Really, I'm not going to see anything here because there's some issues there. But that's one type of light. Now your scene has more than that light. So if I take this off and I just say delete, right, you'll see that I can still see this, right? And where's this light coming from? And that's that the scene has a default ambient light setting. So I'm going to hit Control or Command Z to get my main directional light back up. I'm going to go to Window, Rendering, Lighting Settings, and you'll see here this is our scene's basic lighting, right? Environmental lighting. So you see I can bring that up and I start to look. There's nothing, there's no shadows. So you need shadows, right? I can make it so there's no light other than that directional light, and then we have really dark shadows. Again, kind of 1 is the default. You don't have to use it as the default, but right, it just depends on what you want to use, right? So we see here that the sun source is set to this directional light, right? And again, we can play with these settings, and you can play with these settings on your own. Okay, and so we understand those main lights. Let's do one more type of light, and that's a spotlight, and that's putting some light on an object like our sphere. So what do? We go into Game Object, Light. Now there are these other ones, but we'll probably just need this one in our things. You're welcome to go learn about the other ones. So we place our spotlight, and so you'll see our spotlight basically has this cone here of where it affects something. So right now it's from the top. Is our object in it? We kind of have to zoom around looking for what's going on. So we can change its intensity. So I'm going to make it pretty intense and go 5. And you saw the light bump there a little bit. But why have it come close to the same? Let's actually rotate it to the side. Let's say I want to brighten up these shadows just on this object for a practical matter. I want someone to inspect this in our game. So I can go to my rotator, right? We'll rotate this light over here. I'm going to have it come right from the side. I'll go to my move tool, right? And I'll try to, let's go this way. Let's bring it this way. Now it's not affecting the object, probably because it's not in the view of the object. So this is where we have to use our, right, kind of look here, look here, look here. Well, it looks like it's in there. So let's see what's happening. We should get, there we go. See, it's obviously wasn't far enough. So now you see in the video, I've got this spotlight, right, kind of coming in here. And let's try to bring this way. There we go. We brightened this up. Obviously the intensity is too much. Maybe make it a 2 intensity. There we go. So now I've got my object lit a little additionally. So anything in this cone of light is going to take on this spotlight, right? This is like, creating lighting. So I want you to go ahead and play with all these options, put a spotlight on your sphere on the side, just for now.